Hi everyone. In this video we will understand Spring profiles in depth. So we are going to master Spring profiles. Okay, so I'm going to cover everything that is required to know about Spring profiles. Okay, let's get started. So what are Spring profiles? So if you look at the definition, Spring profiles provide a way to segregate parts of your application configuration and make it available only in certain environments, right? So what do you mean by this? So normally we will have some configurations. Those are different for different environments. Let's say in development environment you may connect to development database. Let's say the database will be different from production database, right? Yes. So that is configuration, right? That is one configuration we do normally to connect to one particular database. So that configuration will be different for different environments. Not only this, we will have so many. Let's say you want to connect to one API, right? You want to call one API from your code base. So normally in development we will call development API. That means that API which is deployed in development server, right? So the APIs also we have to configure, right? So if you configure, what is the advantage? You no need to do the code change, right? So but when the configuration is different for different environments, then definitely sometimes before spring profiles, what we used to do, so during development we used to manually put that configuration manually and used to do our coding and testing everything. Then later when we deploy in test environment, we used to change the configuration for test environment. Again when we have to deploy in production, again we have to change the production related configuration manually, right? So this is not at all good approach because it will prone to errors. So but Spring profiles make it easier for us. How? Because if we use Spring profiles, we no need to do anything when deploying in different environments. So we will see the benefits. Okay, anyway, so they help in managing multiple environments such as development, testing, staging and production. So Spring profiles is a very, very important concept. Nowadays you can expect definitely one interview question on Spring profiles also. Not only that, in your real-time projects also definitely you will be using Spring profiles. It's very, very important concept. It is a Spring core concept we must understand. Okay, so what are the benefits of using Spring profiles? Yeah, that is environment specific configuration. I told you, right? Manage different configurations for different environments. So this is the whole core purpose of Spring profiles. And simplified deployment, definitely easy to switch between environments without changing code. So that is what the purpose. And improved maintainability, yes, because we will maintain separate configurations for separate environments. In that case, if we want to change something related to development environment, easily we can go to that file which is related to development, easily we can change without thinking that, oh, it will break something in production, without it will break something in test environment. Without thinking about that, easily, happily we can go and change the file which is belonging to development environment, let's say. So these three benefits you will get when we use Spring profiles. Getting it right? Yes. So in this video we are not only going to cover Spring configurations, but also we will cover everything which is required to know about Spring profiles. So we are going to literally master Spring profiles. Okay, next. So let's say you have an application which is containing these 12 beans, bean 1, bean 2, bean 3, bean 4 to bean 12. Okay, we have different beans, okay, created. Maybe some of these beans we are using to configure our application, let's say. Okay, so in profiles what we do is normally, let's say I want this bean 1, bean 2, bean 3, bean 4, I want to work this one in some development environment, let's say, and bean 5 to bean 8, these 4 I want to make it work in production environment. But I don't want to load these 4 beans in production, and I don't want to load these 4 beans in development environment. And this bean 9 to bean 12, these beans I want to load in every environment. I need this for every environment. So in that case what we will do, let's say I will call it as profile 1. Okay, so let's say bean 1, bean 2, bean 3, bean 4, I want to associate these beans under profile 1. Okay, so what will happen, I'm creating profile name. You can give anything. Let's say you can give in development environment, you can define it as development, profile name as development. So generic name I'm giving some kind of name like profile 1, let's say. Okay, so this profile 1, so this profile 1, when we activate this, so profile 2, let's say here if you see these 4 beans associating to profile 2. Okay, so profile 1, profile 2, I have 2 profiles for my Spring application, let's say, and this bean 9 to bean 12 are not belonging to any profile. Getting it right? So let's say this is the scenario. So what will happen is when I activate this profile 1, so only, so what do you mean by activating? You may get doubt, right? So we will see that. So we need to tell to the Spring that only this profile related information only you have to load. Only this profile related configuration only you have to load. That is called activating the profile. So when I activate this profile 1, what will happen is only these 4 beans will be created, and not only this, the beans which are not belonging to any profile, these also will get created. That means when I activate profile 1, how many beans will be created? Bean 1 to bean 1, bean 2, bean 3, bean 4, and bean 9, bean 10, bean 11, bean 12. So these 8 will be created, remember. So when I activate profile 2, let's say, so what will happen is these 4 beans won't be created. Only bean 5, bean 6, bean 7, bean 8, these 4 will be created. And what will happen next? These bean 9, bean 10, bean 11, bean 12 also gets created. Why? Because these 4 beans are not associated to any profile, so these are common to all the profiles. Getting it right? So this is very much important to understand, because in your Spring applications you won't be associating everything to the profile. Some beans, so far if you talk about whatever we discussed in these previous videos, did we talk about profiles? No, right? So if you don't configure anything, that means if you don't configure bean to a profile, what will happen is it will be common to all the profiles. That's what we need to understand here. Okay, yes. So let's say these 4 beans, no profile configured. What will happen? These 4 beans belong to all the profiles. So that's what we need to understand. So this is very core concept to understand, concentrate. Okay. Now let's see how we can do in programming. That means in code level, practically how we will see. Okay. Here if you see this diagram, this is profile 1. That means bean 1, bean 2 are associated with profile 1. So what will happen? How to configure it? Let's say I want to configure these 2 beans for profile 1. So what I have to do? Normally, if you use the XML configuration, if you look at here, if you use the XML configuration, we need to use like this. We will have a beans tag, okay, under beans tag, and we have an attribute called profile associated with the beans tag. Here we need to use the profile attribute. So here we can mention the profile 1. What will happen? Whatever the beans you define within this tag, all will be associated with profile 1. So you are getting it right? So whatever the beans I defined within the beans tag with profile 1, then what will happen? This bean 1 and bean 2 will be associated with profile 1. So they are part of profile 1. Okay. So if you see this class level, so I have beans. I have classes called bean 1 and bean 2. So at the class level also I can use @profile annotation. So this is a special annotation we can use to associate a bean with a particular profile. Okay. So here this bean 1 is part of profile 1, and here bean 2 is also part of profile 1. So at the class level also we can use @profile annotation. Okay. And bean level, so when we use the configuration class to define our beans, so here also at the method level you can use the @profile annotation. So what it will do here, it will create this bean and it will make it part of profile 1. So bean 2 also part of profile 1 using the configuration. And one more interesting thing is, at the class level, if you use for the configuration class, let's say I'm using @configuration annotation and also at the profile. So what will happen is, whatever the beans, all the beans which are created under this class, that means within this class, whatever the beans we have created, all will become part of profile 1 only here. So this is another way of doing. So on top of the class, if you put this profile annotation, what will happen? These two beans will be created as part of profile 1. So these are different levels of configuration with profiles. Understand, right? So if you work in the legacy applications, you might be seeing this configuration. If you work in the latest Spring projects, you will be seeing these kind of configurations. And if you go for Spring Boot, there some configurations won't be there, because Spring Boot will be doing that. That we will see in the Spring Boot anyway. Okay, you understood, right? Yes. If you have any questions, you can always question in the comment section. Okay, so the next thing is this one scenario I want to explain to you. So we are mastering Spring profiles, so I want to cover everything. So here, let's say I have profile 1, which is containing, that means profile 1 contains these beans. Okay, that means these 4 beans are part of profile 1. So how many ways we can configure? So because here why I want to explain this one is one special concept, one special thing I want to cover. So what is that? We will see. So if you use component scan along with the profile, what will happen? So and also you are using the configuration, right? So you are creating beans with the bean @bean, right? So what will happen is when you use profile 1 here, bean 1, bean 2, these two beans will become part of profile 1. Okay, bean 1, bean 2 are becoming part of profile 1. And also bean 3, bean 4 also we have. Here we have bean 3, right? @component. Here I'm not annotating this class with profile 1, right? So what will happen is it will become part of profile 1, because I am using this profile along with the component scan. Okay, so now bean 4 I am not using profile annotation here. So what will happen is, since I am using component scan along with the @profile annotation, this bean 4 also will belong to profile 1. So that's why when you use component scan with profile, be careful in your project, all the components which are being scanned by this component scan will become part of this particular profile only. So be careful while doing that. Okay, so what will happen is, so all these 4 beans, bean 1, bean 2, bean 3, bean 4 will become part of profile 1. Let's say in the same package Spring demo, I have created another class called bean 5 and I annotated. Okay, if I don't annotate it with the profile @profile, then it will also become part of profile 1. But for example, if I annotate this particular class with @profile with some profile 2, let's say, so what will happen is, even though you annotate it with any profile, any name, sometimes if you use @profile, what will happen is this bean 5 does not belong to any profile. This is the key concept we need to understand in depth. Okay, so don't use both together. Let's say here you are using @profile with component scan, and if you use the same profile here, it won't work. We will see it in practically. Okay, so this bean 5 doesn't belong to any profile. Okay, so that's what we need to understand. So anyway, we will see everything in practically. Okay, so one more scenario I want to explain to you, that is, let's say I have 2 parts of my application, profile 1 and profile 2. So if you observe here, bean 1, bean 2 are part of profile 1, bean 5, bean 6 are part of profile 2, but if you look at the bean 3 is part of profile 1 as well as part of profile 2. So in this case, what we can do is, in the profile annotation here, if you look at here, in the profile annotation, we can give multiple profiles like this, profile 1, profile 2. So what will happen is, it will belong to multiple profiles. Okay, profile 1 and profile 2. Okay, so this is what I want to let you know, right? We can pass comma separated profile values. Let's say I want to load this particular bean for dev and QA or dev and test environment. So what I can pass here, dev comma test, profile name, any name we can define for profile names. Okay. Okay, so far we have learned how to define profiles, right? How to make certain part of configuration to belong to a particular profile, how to make a configuration to a part of a profile, right? So next what we will understand is how to activate profile. So this is very important concept to understand to master profiles. Okay, so we have three ways: using configurable environment class, using system environment variables, and using JVM parameters. So we have three ways of activating profiles. So what we have to do is we can get the configurable environment from the application context. Okay, once from the application context, if you get this one, you can call set active profiles method on it, and you can programmatically activate profile using this method. If you pass the profile name, you can pass comma separated profiles also to activate multiple profiles. Okay, anyway, we will see that. But to activate profile programmatically within your Java code, for testing purpose, sometimes we may need to do it. So mostly we don't do this, but Spring is allowing us to set the profiles using programmatical way. Okay, using this configurable environment. Okay, but mostly in real-time projects we don't use this. I'll let you know, because I don't want to touch the code, right? Once I activate the profile, why I have to touch the code? Once you activate the profile, only that profile will be active, right? Again, if I want to deploy this in the production, again I have to change this code, right? So that's why we don't prefer this normally, but Spring is allowing this. We have to understand this, okay, to master it. Okay, set active profiles means it will actually activate this profile. We will see it in practically. Next, using environment variables. So environment variables is the mostly used one. In any Java project you go, definitely we will set this. So in system environment variables, variable name will be spring_profiles_active, or you can use spring.profiles.active. Both will work. Okay, both will work. You can use anything. In legacy applications, I used to see this one, spring.profiles.active. Nowadays we are using, in modern applications, I am saying spring_profiles_active. So value we have to give as the profile name. It can be dev, prod, test environment, QA, stage environment, anything we can give here. Here also we can pass comma separated values. We will see that anyway. So, and also the third way is using JVM parameters. So while testing it in local, let's say I want to activate only dev profile or only local profile. So what you can do, instead of doing it programmatically, what you can do is you can use like this -d spring.profiles.active equals to profile name. That can be dev, local, production, anything. Okay, profile 1. So here also you can give multiple values, comma separated values. So if you do this, it will also activate the profile. So we have three ways of activating profiles. Please keep in mind. Okay, yes. Next we will see activating multiple profiles. So the same slide, previous slide only, here what we are doing is multiple profiles I am activating. If I want to activate multiple profiles, profile 1 comma profile 2, we can do like this. And also in environment variables also I can pass comma separated values like this. Okay, here also in using JVM parameters also I can pass profile 1 comma profile 2 like this. Multiple profiles we can activate. Okay, I hope you are understanding. If you have any questions, please ask your question in the comment section. So you may get one doubt, you have to get. So you are saying that, you may ask me like this, you are saying that we can activate these these profiles using three ways, that is using set active profiles and using system variables and also using VM arguments, that means JVM arguments. So at a time, if I activate profile using these three ways, at a time I can do, right? At a time I configured spring.profiles.active in the environment variables, and also programmatically I am doing, and also VM arguments also I am passing, different profiles I am passing. Let's say in programmatically I am setting up profile 1, that means I am activating profile 1. In system variables I activated profile 2, and in VM arguments I activated profile 3. Okay, so which one will be given precedence? This is very much important, and why it is important, so also we need to understand, because practically we will be using these two. I never used this. That is up to you. Programmatically I never did. I will be using in our projects, we will be using VM arguments to test it locally, and also system level we fix it, because in local I'll fix it with local. In production it will be prod. In test environment it will be test, or QA it will be QA. That is fine. It is fixed. When we deploy the application in different environments, it will activate that profile only. Okay, fine. But in local, while I am testing it, sometimes even though it is local, I want to see in test how it will work. So I want to activate test profile here. So I will choose, already it is set at the environment variables local, but I want to activate test also in my local. So what should happen? This VM arguments should take precedence over system variables, right? Yeah, that's how Spring developed it. Okay. So anyway, priority, which one will be given precedence? If we activate three profiles, I mean different profiles using different ways, then what will happen is, normally the first preference is given to set active profiles, because programmatically we are doing it, right? So it will be given precedence. So if I am activating three profiles, profile 1, profile 2, profile 3, using three ways, then which one will be given precedence? Which profile will be activated? Profile 1 will be activated, and profile 2, profile 3 won't be activated. They will not be activated. Only profile 1 will be activated if I use programmatically at the same time. And what will be the second one? Can you guess? We can guess it, right? So this is the third one. Okay, not second one, because this should be given least priority, because in local, while I am doing the development, I want to change I want to change it using VM arguments, right? So for example, in local it is given as profile 2, that means in local at the system environment variables level. What will happen in VM arguments? I want to make it to test. So happily using VM, I don't want to touch system variables. System variables, once we define, we don't change it frequently, because if we change the system variable, we have to restart the IDE at least. Sometimes we may need to restart the application operating system also. Sometimes machine also we need to. Previously we used to restart the system to reflect it, but nowadays at least IDE we have to restart to reflect it, right? So that's why Spring, what they did is, they gave us the option of VM arguments. Instead of changing here at the system variables level, you can change in VM arguments. So what it will be done? VM arguments will be given precedence. So if you look at the precedence, what is the most given one? That means most priority one it will take. Programmatically it will consider first, because this is within the code base. Second precedence it will give to VM arguments. So the third priority it will give to system variables. So this is what we need to understand. This is very, very, very important. People are using this, but they don't know what is happening behind the scenes, because in the environment level also we are setting it, and also VM arguments also we are setting it. Why we are setting it VM arguments means, because I want to change this behavior. By default it is belonging to this profile 2, but I want to change it to profile 3 while testing it sometimes locally. So locally I will go to VM arguments and I will change this one and to make the testing. Interesting, right? So this precedence also we need to know to master profiles. Congratulations, you are learning very, very, very valuable concepts which most of the people do not know. So I hope you understand this theory. Now let's get into practical. Okay, so let's get into the IDE. So here I have set up some beans for you, and I have created one application configuration file for you and a demo class. Okay, so anyway, I have not set up any profiles so far. Okay, so what we will do is, what we have set up we will understand first. So here I am creating the application context using annotation config application context. So I am leaving it to you, that is XML related configuration. If you want to test and you want to understand, just do it. Just take an XML file and wrap it with beans. In the slide I have explained you, right? So the same way you can configure and test it. Okay, but here this is the modern approach to understand these profiles. We will understand with the modern approach only. Okay, so annotation config application context. Okay, this one we will use, okay, for demonstration purpose. Okay, if you really need XML configuration also for demonstration purpose, let me know. I will create a video for that. Okay, yes. So if you go to this, if you see this, I have bean 1, bean 2, bean 3, bean 4, bean 5, bean 6. But if you see only bean 1, I have not annotated with @ component, bean 2 also, even bean 3 also. So all these beans I have not annotated with @ component. Okay, and if you look at the application configuration, I am creating these two beans, bean 1 and bean 2, using the @ bean. Okay, that's it, and passing this application configuration class here. That means how many beans should be created? Only 2 beans should be created, because because of this configuration, right? So let's test it and see. Yes, bean1, bean2, right? Yes. Now we will start with profiles. Okay, so how we have to do @profile annotation we need to do, right? So let's say I want to create this bean1, bean2 only for profile 1. Okay, let's say how we can do. One way is directly on the bean I can use it, right? Here I want to make it profile 1, and I will copy this. Here I will add here profile 1. So what will happen? They will become part of profile 1, right? But now I am not activating profile 1, just I am annotated with profile. That means I want to make Spring to make these two beans part of profile 1. Okay, let's run this one and again we will see. I am not getting the output, right? I am not getting the output. Why? In order to get the output, we must activate the profile, right? So I am not activating profile, right? Here in programmatically I didn't do it. Let's check in JVM variables, do we have or not. Run. If you go to the run configurations, do you have any? Yeah. Here I have something called I'm activating profile 3 here. I will remove this one now. Okay, run it. See, still we are not getting anything. That means I have not activated any profile, but I made these two beans part of profile 1. So that's why these two beans has to be created but not created, right? So in order to create these two beans, we must activate profile 1. Then only these two beans will be created. So how can we do it? We can do it in 3 ways, right? So the first way is to do it programmatically. Programmatically, can we understand? So let's understand it. So let's create the object for configurable environment. Let's say we call it as environment. Okay, equals to, we have to get that from where we have to get that from the application context only. So once we get that environment, then we can set active profiles. So one profile I want to activate. What is that? Profile 1, right? So I am activating, fine. But here the problem here is, if will it work or not, we will see. Okay, it is not working, right? Why it is not working? We are doing something wrong here. What is that is, we are already creating the application context object here itself using this configuration class. After that we are activating, so it is not considering it. So once it activate it, we need to again ask application context to refresh itself, right? Because in the annotation config application context, if you see this, it is refreshing. It is creating, it is registering all the component classes, and also it is refreshing. Okay, it is already refreshing, right? So if you refresh again, will it work? You may ask me one question: how to refresh it? Using the application context. In the application context, we can actually programmatically refresh like this. You have using this method. We have already one method called refresh method. Programmatically, we can refresh the application context, but we are already refreshing it, right? So what will happen? We will see. We are getting some error, right? What? Generic application context does not support multiple refresh attempts. I am using the this application context, they are calling it as generic application context. Using this, it does not support multiple refresh attempts, just to call refresh once only. So this is what we need to understand. So we need to call refresh only once, but here already I am calling. What I have to do? So what I will do is, I will remove this from here. Here just I will create it. After setting the profiles, what I will do is, in the application context, I can register the application configuration class like this. So first I created the application context, I got the environment, and I have activated the profile. After activating the profile, I am registering the application context. Now when now I can separately refresh this application context, right? These two parts are being done when I pass the application configuration class here, right? So that is a overloaded method. So it will making use of these two, but I am doing it separately now. I am creating the application context first, then I am registering here, then I am refreshing. So separately I am doing because of the profiles. So this is how we need to do programmatically in Java. Okay. using Java configuration. Okay, anyway, so now we will test it. Yes, so bean1, bean2 created because they are associated with profile 1. Congratulations. Now let's say bean3, bean4 I want to activate for profile 2. Okay, what I will do here only I will do with class level. Okay, class level we can do, right? Profile 2, let's say. Okay, the same I am copy for bean4 also. Component profile 2. So what I did now, we are getting, yes, I have to import it. Yes, yep. So now profile 1, profile 2, that means these bean1, bean2 are part of profile 1 and bean3, bean4 are part of profile 2, right? Now I am activating what programmatically? Programmatically I am activating profile 1 also, profile 1 only, right? So what will happen? Profile 1 related beans, bean1, bean2 are part of profile 1, right? So they are created. If I activate profile 2, what should happen? Bean3, bean4 should be created, right? But are they creating? First of all, observe it, bean1, bean2 are not created here, right? Bean1, bean2 are not created. Why? Because they belong to profile 1. But profile 2, bean3, bean4 has to be created, right? But they are not getting created. Why? Because they are not component scanning. That's the basic thing, right? We need to do component scan, right? To actually those beans has to be created, right? So component scan, base packages. I want to pass, what is the base package here? Spring demo, right? Yes. So this is a spring demo. Within the spring demo I have all these beans. So I am passing the package here like this. So what will happen now? Profile 2 I have activated. So bean3, bean4 I am expecting to create. Yes, created, right? Bean3, bean4 are created because they are part of profile 2. But bean1, bean2 are not created because they are part of profile 1. So this is how they work. Now one more thing. Bean5, bean6, they are not part of any profile. Let's say, okay, profile, not profile. I don't want to use profile here. I just want to make this bean as spring bean, okay, component, okay, and bean6 component. That's it. So now we will see. Definitely component scan will scan this bean also, right? Because this is not part of any profile. This is also we need to understand. And bean6, bean5 also not part of any profile, but they are spring beans only. Okay. Now what can you guess what will be the output? As I told you, if I don't associate bean to any profile, then that is common to all the profiles, right? So bean5, bean6 should be activated. They should be created for profile 2 as well as for profile 1. Let's check with profile 2. Okay, let's run the profile 2. Yes, so bean3, bean4 are anyway part of profile 2, but bean5, bean6 are not part of profile 2, right? But they are getting created. Why? Because they are not associated with any profiles. So that's why they are common to all the profiles. So bean5, bean6 will be part of profile 2 and also for profile 1 also. Let's check for profile 1 also. Okay, let's run for profile 1. Yes, so for profile 1, if you observe, bean1, bean2 are getting created because we associated them to profile 1, but bean5, bean6 we have not done association with profiles, but still they are part of profile 1 as well, right? So bean5, bean6 are part of profile 1 and profile 2. So this is the demonstration. Got it right? I hope you understand this, right? The next thing we need to understand is making all the beans of an application into, that means part of a spring profile. So I want to demonstrate this one also to you. Let's say if I add here profile 1, what will happen? What will happen now? We will see. Okay. So profile 1 only I am activating. Just observe. See, bean1, bean2, bean5, bean6 are created because doing component scan, so what will happen is bean 1, bean 2 become part of profile 1 only, and also I'm annotated with profile 1, that is fine. And bean 5 and bean 6 I'm not annotating with any profile, but still they are part of profile 1. How I'm saying is bean 5 and bean 6 created part of profile 1 is because I'm annotating here, and also before also I got the same output, right? Before adding this annotation also I got the same output, right? Yes. Now bean 5, bean 6 used to get create for profile 2 also, but now we will see whether it will create or not. I'm activating profile 2. Okay. What happened? I'm not getting any output. What does it mean? Because I have annotated profile 1 at the class level, configuration level, and also at the component scan level. What will happen? All the beans in the application are part of profile 1, so profile 2 won't work. For example, you may think if I annotate here profile 2, let's say, okay, do you think still it will work or not? You may think that it may override this profile 1, but it will do so? No, right? That's what we understood, right? So bean 5 I'm annotating with profile 2, so when I activate profile 2, will it work or not? It won't work, right? Let's run and see. See, I'm not getting any output here. Even though I'm running it, I'm not getting. That means what? Bean 5, because of annotating this, it is not becoming part of profile 2. Even if I annotate here, because it is overriding with this one. Okay. And here one more thing we need to understand. The interesting thing is I annotated with profile 2, right? Okay, fine. It is not belonging to profile 2. At least will it belonging to profile 1? We will check that. Okay. I will activate profile 1 now. I have activated profile 1. See, bean 1, bean 2, they are already part of profile 1. They are created. Bean 6 also part of profile 1, because here component scan level I am using profile 1 because it is part of profile 1. Where is bean 5? Bean 5 is not there, right? Where is bean 5? Bean 5 I made it as profile 2. That's why it is not there. Right? Because I am activating profile 1, bean 5 it is profile 2, that's why it is not coming. See, even if, for example, if I made it as profile 1, will it work? It is working. So profile 1 working. But if I made it to profile 2 like this, it is not working with profile 2, and also it is not working with profile 1. So that's why never ever do like this. So if you enable the profile at the configuration level, at the component scan level like this, don't change a bean to another profile like this. It won't work also for that particular profile. Profile 2 it is not working, profile 1 also it is not working. So this is what we need to understand. Okay, this is in depth actually we are covering. Okay, if we activate multiple profiles like this, can we activate multiple profiles? Yes, right? In the flower braces like this we have to give. Okay, profile 2. So now also bean 5 should come, because that is belonging to profile 2, right? Not coming. So that's why it is very important to understand, whenever you annotate a different profile like this, it won't work. Okay, even though it is part of, even though I am activating profile 2, no, right? Here I am activating profile 2. Here I have to activate multiple profiles. Okay. Before this I want to tell you something. Here I will activate multiple profiles. Here I can pass comma separated values. Okay, profile 2. So I'm activating profile 1 and profile 2. What will happen? All the beans are getting created. Why? Because bean 2, bean 1, bean 2 are part of profile 1, right? And bean 3, bean 4 are part of profile 2, right? And bean 5, bean 6, bean 5 is part of profile 2, right? And bean 6 is not part of any profile, but it's getting created. Are you getting what is happening? When we activate both the profiles, everything is getting covered, right? Profile 1, it is all the beans are belonging to the profile 1 only when I define it here, right? But profile 2, bean 5, bean 3, bean 4 are part of profile 2. That's why now these are also coming, right? This is what we need to understand. Okay, but understand, are this bean 3 and bean 4 are coming when I activate profile 2? No, right? This is what we need to understand. So if you go to here, if I activate only profile 2, nothing is coming. Why? Because at the component scan level I am using profile 1 here, so it is overriding everything. But when I activate both, it is considering in that case, right? Yes, this is what we need to understand. Some different behavior it is, right? So this is what we need to understand in depth. Anyway, this kind of things we will be doing very rarely. We don't do it. Normally we don't annotate at the red profile at the configuration level. Even though we annotate, some different small configurations will be there. This is a main application configuration. Main application configuration we don't do it. Some other configurations we will be doing it. We will see it in practically now. Anyway, no need to worry. Just understand this. This is how it works. And also you try to play with your own way how the profiles are working. If I annotate this, if I remove this, how it is behaving. Okay, and if I add this at the component class, how it is behaving. Just try it. Okay. And now we will understand precedence. Let's say programmatically I am activating profile 1 and profile 2. Okay, let's say what I will do is, to demo it, what I will do is I will just remove the configuration level. I am making profile 1, bean 1 and bean 2 part of profile 1, bean 3 profile 2, bean 4 profile 2, bean 5 I will leave it like this, bean 6 also I will leave it like this. Okay, so now if we run this, what is the here profile 2, right? I am activating profile 2, right? So bean 3, bean 4, bean 5, bean 6 are coming. Good. Now let's check the precedence, how they will work. Okay, in JVM argument I will pass like this, arguments here -d spring dot. This is the most commonly used in applications, Spring applications, in JVM arguments also. It's very, very important. Let's say here profile 1 I am doing, profile 1. Okay, profile 1 I am activating. Okay, run. Still profile 2 only working, right? Because profile 2 only it is considering, right? Because bean 3, bean 4 belongs to profile 2 and bean 1, bean 2 belongs to profile 1. Even though activated from JVM, it is considering programmatic one only. That means this is only, right? This is given the precedence. This is given most precedence. That means most priority, you can say, or precedence, right? So this is what we need to understand. If I comment it this, if I comment out this, then what will happen? Spring profile 1 should be created, right? Yes, profile 1. So bean 1, bean 2 created means profile 1 is activated. So the first priority is being given to this, second priority is being given to JVM variables. So I want to add environment variable also. Let's say I will go to environment variables. So this is most commonly used in any application. So in system environment variables or user I will use, system also I can use. If I use in user, I have to restart the this IDE, that is STS here I am using. So okay, I will restart anyway. Remember, we have to restart IDE. So I will add a new variable here, new variable. Okay, spring dot profiles dot active. Okay, which one you want to use? Profile, let's say profile 2. Profile 2. Okay, by default profile 2 only will be activated. Okay, okay, okay. I will restart the server. Okay, I will restart the IDE. So I have restarted the server now, not IDE now. So what we will do is, here also run configurations also I'll remove. Okay, I'll remove. Okay, if you observe here, bean 3, bean 4, bean 5, bean 6, they belong to which profile? Profile 2, right? Yes, profile 2, right? Bean 5, bean 6 are not part of any profile, so they are getting created, and bean 3, bean 4 belong to profile 2. So see, in the application code I am not using any profile. That means I am not activating any profile. In the JVM variables also I am not activating any profile. But how profile 2 is coming? How profile 2 is activated? From the environment variables it is activated now. So if I deploy the same code in test environment, in test also environment variables, if we set up the profile, then that profile will be picked up. Let's say profile 2 I have activated in my local environment, but in production if I activate profile 1, and only profile 1 related beans only will be created. Here beans are configurations also. Configurations one use case we will see now anyway. So this is what we need to understand. Okay. Okay, I hope you understood practically also. You also practice it and understand profiles well in depth. Okay, this definitely these concepts, this video also very useful for the people who are going to plan for certification also. Okay, this much depth is required. Now, real-time use case, loading property files based on the environment. So this is very important. Don't skip this video. Okay, from here practically in real-time projects how we are using these profiles we will understand very clearly using this real-time example I want to give you. Okay, I worked in some 4 to 5 Spring projects where how we configured based on the profiles I will show you now. Okay, the practical example we will see once. Okay, now for this let's get into IDE. Yeah, so for this I have set up a project for you which I am checking in GitHub also. You can access this. I will share the URL in the description anyway. So here some demo application I have set up. Okay, and for XML configuration and for annotation based configuration, for both the configurations I want to demonstrate. Okay, first we will start with the XML configuration. Okay, for that I will just comment this. I'll uncomment this. Okay, so actually I am creating the application context from the XML file. So what is the XML file we will see. So this is the XML file. So in the legacy applications which are already developed a few years back, you will be seeing this kind of configurations with respect to the profiles. So they would be using the beans tag like this, okay, with attribute called profile. So here you will be having comma separated profiles. If you want to load the same properties file for multiple profiles, they will be using comma separated values. Let's say I am using local and dev environments here, 2 profiles. So in 2 profiles, in 2 environments, my local and in the dev environment also I want to read this properties file, email local properties file. And in QA environment, so I would be using this, and prod environment I will be using email prod. So what is there inside these 3 we will see. So email local properties, we have email configuration which I use in local environment. Let's say I want to send emails to the clients. Okay, but in testing in local, when I do testing, I don't want to send the emails to the client, right? So I want to send them email to myself, whether the email template is correct or not, whether I am getting email or not, right? So I will configure my email name. So email from also my email name only. So in local, when I test it, I will use this configuration. Okay, so when you see QA, in QA environment I would be sending those emails to the testing team who are testing this functionality. They will be getting the emails. So that's why I configured the testing team DL here, and from also something related to the QA environment only. And in production I'll be sending the emails to the actual client, maybe he is some xyz@abc.com. Okay, from production application he will be getting the email. So this properties file have to be loaded dynamically with respect to the environment. So that's where profiles concept come into the picture. Okay, when we activate local profile, then local properties only which should be loaded. When we activate QA profile, only QA file should be loaded. When we activate prod profile, only prod file should be loaded. This is how I want to configure. Okay, so what I will do, Normally in the application context, if we use XML configuration, we do like this only. Okay, so for this, so I have enabled like this, and I'm activating profile, right? Which profile I have to activate? So what I want to do is I want to activate the profile using JVM arguments. Okay, so I'm activating local, let's say local profile I'm activating. Okay, let's run it. Yeah, what is the output we are getting? Locally configured values. So you may be thinking what is this output? Actually, for demonstrating purpose, what I did is I have created user service class. In the user service, I'm actually injecting the properties from the properties file. Okay, so let's say from local key is this one only, right? xyz email.clientdl. So we have already learned this, how to load the properties, right, into Spring application, right? We have that video, right? I think you have gone through that video. If you have not gone through that video, please, I recommend to go through that video to understand this demonstration. Okay, at the rate value we can use, right, to inject the properties. So I'm injecting the properties from and client DL to these two variables. Then I'm using that in the email service, send email method. Okay, so what is there in the email service? I'm actually send email method is there. I'm actually not sending the email, but I'm just printing the values just to demonstration purpose. Okay, so anyway, in local, from local I have activated the local profile. So it is reading, it is injecting what values here, what values it is injecting. These values are coming from which one? So these values are coming from local, right? Because we have activated the local profile, so coming from this one, right? So when I activate, if I activate another profile, let's check that one as well. I want to activate prod profile. Okay, run it. So what is happening? From is coming from which properties file? To is coming from which properties file? These values are coming from email prod properties from here, right? So without changing the code, just by changing the profile, we are able to load the configuration dynamically, right? So this is what important. Normally in production applications, in real-time applications, sometimes we'll be using for local testing purpose, we'll be using the JVM arguments like this, how we are setting here to select the profile, and also for testing purpose we can keep on changing this, no problem. But in production, in environment variables, we'll be normally we'll be adding this configuration in the environment variables. That means we will be activating the profiles in the environment variables, not here. Okay, but for demonstrating purpose I am using this here. Okay, so anyway, so this is using application context XML. You understood, right? Now we will go to the Java configuration. So for that I will just comment this. So I will uncomment this. Okay, so after doing this, we know, right, if we do here, we cannot refresh it after activating the profiles. Otherwise we'll keep like this only, no problem. So anyway I will be activating the profile from the JVM arguments only, right? Yeah. So for this, what is there in the application configuration, we will see. So what I am doing is I am actually created 3 configuration classes, one for local, one for prod, other for QA. These are independent configurations. So here one configuration is there. If you look at this local config, what I am doing here is I am actually loading the properties file. You know, right, how to load the properties in Spring application? Using the property sources. If you go for Java configuration, then we have to use the property sources annotation, right? We can load multiple properties. This we already saw, right, in the previous videos. So anyway, so I'm annotating this configuration class with the local. So what will happen when I activate local profile? It will consider only this class. It won't consider the other profiles. Okay, here actually I am loading the email-local properties. Yeah. So similarly, we are loading QA configuration files like this, same way, using a different configuration, and prod configuration differently. So the advantage of using different configurations is we can actually annotate with profile, and also we can have all the properties files related to prod in a single place here itself. We can get the separation of concerns here, right? So these 3 configurations separately we configured for local, QA and prod, right? So in the application configuration here, actually we are importing those. So the import we can use to import multiple configurations into a single configuration. This is what the import import we use in Spring Framework. Okay, so this application configuration here, actually I am passing to create the application context. Perfect, right? You understood this. Anyway, I will check in this code into the GitHub, you can get it. Okay, so now I am using the Java configuration. So which profile I am activating? Prod only, right? Otherwise I will change it to QA this time. Okay, QA, run. Yes, I am getting the values loaded from the QA.properties file only, right? QA application testing team. Yes, this is what we need to understand. So we have two ways of configuring profiles using XML configuration and Java configuration. In legacy applications, that means the applications which are developed a few years back, they will be using XML configurations most probably. But now recently, if we are developing from the scratch, definitely we will go for modern way, that is using @profile annotation like these configurations, because few people hesitate to work with XML files. They are not comfortable working with XML files. So for them, Spring has provided Java way of doing configuration. So that is this way. Okay, this way. Okay, this way also you will be seeing in modern applications. Okay, so this is about one real-time use case which we use in our Spring projects, and this is about real-time use case we understood. Okay, I think you hope you and I explained the concepts very clear. If you like this video, please like it, share with your friends who are interested to know about Spring profiles and who are looking for Spring profiles to understand in depth. Please share this video with your friends, and if you are a new one who are not my subscriber, please subscribe to get notifications on more videos which I upload regularly. Okay, thanks for watching.